Colonel Kathy Swacina, U.S. Army retired, and Marina Alvarez, co-leads of the HISPI, and that stands for Holistic Information Security Practitioner Institute AI Think Tank, working on something called Project Cerebellum. Ladies, thanks so much for being here. So, kick things off for us, Colonel. What is Project Cerebellum?
Oh, Project Cerebellum is a think tank that we came together about almost 3 years ago because there was a number of CIOs, CISOs that were concerned about the governance around developing a trusted AI.
Yeah.
So we kind of formed a think tank to look at governance and the policies that were being put out all over the world around AI and figure out what are the true guide rails that need to be set up for AI development.
In that community of CIOs, Marina, and I want you to put on your former Fed hat here, both State Department, Department of Justice, like what were some of those concerns around trusted AI? What are they worried about?
It's typical like when cell phones first came out. You got these apps for free, but you were the data.
Yeah.
And that's what they use to train. So here in the United States, companies own all the data they have off your cell phone. It's unlike Europe where they have the GDPR, the right to be forgotten. So everybody is selling the government, hey, this is our best AI, next best thing to sliced bread. But people forget AI is code. And code is biased by the creators. And what terrified me is that, the government wants to dive into it head first for procurement, for, proposal analysis, for, everything. But they have no idea what is in that AI code that was developed. If throwing it out there, Joe Blow and his brother developed an AI program to evaluate procurements and replace the human being and the human factor in technical evaluation committees that or teams that the government uses. Does that mean that Joe Bob's software all of a sudden wins all the proposals because his company submitted it? AI, in my opinion, is both a tool and a weapon. And anything that could be weaponized is going to be detrimental to a segment or a portion of the population and does not guarantee best value, best solutions to the federal government.
Colonel, you look ready to just jump right in. Anything that you wanted to add to what Marina said there?
No, I totally 100% agree. AI is a tool, and it can be a threat or it can be an opportunity. And it's just depending how you're coding it, where you're pulling your data from, and how you're using it. And I think that we are running headlong, creating things with AI tools, and we need to make sure that we are doing the right things for the right reasons. I, as a former CIO, one of the things they teach you first in CIO school is, okay, you want a system. What do you want it for? What's it going to do? What kind of data are you looking for? And what problem are you trying to solve?
Yeah.
Those are very important questions now more than ever when you're developing AI tools.
There really isn't a regulatory body, I'll call it, inside of government. Take NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology. They help to determine sort of regulatory frameworks all across government for aspects of information technology, Marina. Do you think that there needs to be some type of new AI regulatory body sort of owned or operated by the government? Or like for .orgs, like you're working with HISPI, like is it designed to sort of fill the gaps there?
In a way, yes, it is, because unfortunately, my past experience State Department showed that the Bible for State Department and how it does anything is the Foreign Affairs Manual, the FAM. But in the technology world, some of those things that embassies and consulates around the world relied on were so obsolete and outdated, it was a detriment to say, I had people coming back to me and saying, well, according to the FAM, I can use username and password. I'm like, that chapter, that volume was written in 2015 and hasn't been updated.
Yeah.
Now you're talking about multi-factor authentication, you're talking about data, but I had to fight back and say, no, we have to use modern authentication. And so the government being and NIST having so many other things, I think our organization can assist, because what we've done is we've created the TAM Score, which in simplistic forms, it takes the regulatory compliance frameworks that any given agency or business line has to adhere to, and we created a crosswalk across it. So if you're a federal government agency and you have to use the payment card industry standards, we've got a framework that you can map. Now, the thing is, no one is pushing it or anything like that, but we've created it so that way people who are developing AI products or want to vet their AI products for use by the federal government, for use for another industry, can say, it's, pardon me, but it's kind of like an ATO. It's like the ATO is authority to operate that the federal systems have to use in order to do it. So you go through and go, okay, we meet this requirement this way, or we kind of don't meet it, but we have a compensating control, or we're working on it and here's our plan of actions, a POAM for it. But what we've done is create that so that way you as an agency or a customer or a developer of AI can say, here customer, you participating in this industry, here's how we meet your required compliance documents or your requirements for compliance in the federal government or HIPAA or whatever. Here's what you should be meeting. So that way you have guardrails and you can tell your customer that we meet this platform that you're required to use in your industry or your agency. And the key thing we want out of it, and I don't mean to belittle it or anything like that, is we've put it out there. We don't care what your score is. We want people to go out there, look at the TAM score, download it, and we're keeping count. George, you went out there and created this AI tool. We don't care what it is, how it does it, but you used our system and you named it, Cat Chaser #1. And whatever.
No.
I am a grandmother. I do have these strange powers. And then you grade your score. But then if you come back and modify that same platform and go test again, keep the same name. And we know that you've tested your platform or used our system and you provided us feedback saying, this is really great, but I don't like the font you used, or I don't like the color you used, whatever. But because this is it's like an open source thing.
Right.
It's like, give us feedback. How can we make it better so it's a useful tool? And then hopefully the developers or the people who are creating these tools can say, I've done everything, my due diligence to make sure you meet this NIST compliance, this PCI compliance, this other framework, ISO, and here, go. And that means the customer, whether it be the government agency, whether it be, your mother or whatever, if they have these legal requirements, can say, I'm fairly confident that I'm within the required frameworks for my industry or my business line.
Colonel, build on that for me just a little bit. I mean, certainly getting in there, using the tool will be informative for HISPI and for users, but mission benefits from that perspective, like what do you expect those agencies, those customers to start to realize as mission benefits from using the TAM Score tool itself? Is it speed of adoption? Is it better security at the end of the day? Like, what do they get out of that equation?
Well, I think yes, and yes. It would be ensuring that the AI tool that they've developed is trustworthy, is ethical, has met all the standards that are out there. As Marina said, we have crosswalked standards from ISO, IEC, NIST, the White House, EU, and so we've already done all that work.
Yeah.
We've looked at all the guidelines, and we have 20 different kinds of use cases and 72 crosswalked cases, so that when you are developing your AI tool, you can look at it and make sure that you've checked all the blocks. So yes, this makes it more acceptable because the buyers, the users, the agencies that are going to buy your tool or use your tool, know you have done your due diligence, you have checked all the blocks, and this is trustworthy according to the policies and principles that are out there.
Retired Army Colonel Kathy Swacina, Marina Alvarez, the 1-2 punch behind Project Cerebellum. Thanks to you both.
Thank you, sir.